All right, we are live. This is the Cheech and Manny podcast or the Cheech and Manny Show, the People's Podcast. I'm joined by my esteemed co-host, Cheech Carrero, the People's Vases. How are you, my friend?
Doing good. What's up, man? How's everything, man?
Oh, dude, life is good, man. Summer is rolling. You
Nice.
know, I cannot complain. Like it's been amazing.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's been good for me today. I had a great day with my daughter. Hung out, day away from the temple. Got a little bit of a cold. Freaking air conditioner, I think.
Yeah, it's like that fluctuation from like 30-degree weather to 100.
No, I've
Yeah.
been running now. It's been like a faucet. So I've been popping Allegra and sinus medicine.
Oh man. Oh man. Sorry to hear that, man. But you're looking pretty good though.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. You
No,
too.
the temple priests haven't gotten to you, I see, as of yet.
Not yet. They haven't gotten me yet.
All right, man. So this is gonna be exciting because this is going to be our before, but obviously, we'll release some episodes before this one. This is gonna be our 50th episode.
Mhm.
We're gonna film it in parts of part one, and in part two, we're gonna do some top list.
Yeah.
So we'll kind of go from there.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is our 50th episode, man.
Dude, it's amazing.
I think kind of like anniversary.
It's our 50th anniversary, let's say, 50 episodes. Like to do something 50 times is a lot when you think about it. Like to do something like 50 gigs or 50 I don't know. You know what I mean? Like especially a podcast. Like people don't realize like it's a lot of work to really put a podcast together. Like I didn't realize it until I started to do it. Like I was just like, oh yeah, people get on the screen and they talk. No, I mean some people do, and it's not that good. But like we have such a format that we come up with. You do all the technical stuff, brilliant, amazing. Because I can't do that stuff. I write and research the episodes, but we bounce off each other. So I give you a lot of credit on that. Like I write the format, but I'm always texting you. Like you give me like you gave me so much information. Like the Stevie Van Zandt, I had no idea he came in on Born to Run. I'm writing Born to Run.
Mm.
He came in on the tour. I thought he was always in the band. So things like that, like I'll always bounce off you and you inspire me more as I'm writing it. I'm like, shit, I gotta send this to Manny. And you'll be like, oh, I love that song, great. So I format it, and then we just, we present it as a show, but it's basically an improv show in a sense because we
It
don't
really is.
perform, you know, and
It
that
really is, though. I agree with that. For our audience out there, it may seem like we have a script or something, but I feel like what the audience is seeing is live magic,
they are.
especially when the conversation is great. And we have, I mean, at this point, 50 episodes, we have so
Oh man,
much that
there's
we
so much.
that we managed to capture on camera.
It's a book. This is actually our book. 50, like Manny Grossman put that in my head. I said, you're going to write a book? He said, no, just watch podcasts. And it's true because all the work we put in, anybody could go to any podcast we have, whether it be Bob Dylan, Iron Maiden, or,
Yeah, yeah,
there is. It's there. It's all the information's there. And
yeah.
how we just sometimes go off on tangents. I get a little personal sometimes on some of the lyrics. There's been so many great moments that it's just amazing. It's amazing, and I'm going to go through the story, the backstory of how this all happened. So any shout outs or anything before we
No, just again, I'm so happy that we managed to do 50 episodes, and you're gonna be talking about the story of how
yeah.
we started this little project together. And I just think it's really cool because not to the date exactly, but when we started this, I was in Guatemala,
Yes, that's
and I was like, because we've been talking about doing a podcast, and I'm like, all right, let's do this. And I have
yeah.
other computer out right now just to look at the date when we first. So our first episode was our dissection of the new Wobbin. In other words, the new wave of British heavy metal. Yeah, so almost to the day, July 27, I published it, but we filmed before, obviously.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now from this, our last episode was our In Through the Outdoor episode, Led Zeppelin with Mr. Joe Silkman. And I feel as though that's, we just keep getting better and better. Like,
Oh yeah,
the only
yeah.
thing that's missing is a studio, if anything.
Oh, I was nervous in the beginning because I was like, I don't know how this works. I watch a lot of Joe Rogan. I think he's probably one of the greatest interviewer podcasters. But my favorite podcaster is Manny Grossman. So I had a lot of Manny influence in me. On
Mhm.
that's why I wanted to do the podcast because I
Yeah, yeah,
blown
yeah.
away. And look what happened in the end. Who would have thought of that? I'm going to get to that, but who would have thought a year ago we would have my idol as a podcaster on our show?
Hmm.
That's the amazing. What's going to happen a year from now? Like Steve Harris might be on, or Geddy Lee. Who knows? Like it's
Dude, I mean, imagine. I mean, I think we're keeping the genre of rock and roll alive. And I will say one of the things that we do that how, for example, we're living in such a heavy political climate,
yeah.
and in the music world, sadly, rock in a way is sort of dying. So, it's going to need a lot of rock historians, rock musicologists, rock players to keep it alive and remind the audience out there of the magic of these genres.
Oh yeah.
And again, because I think we have in the top charts today, like if you maybe in the future we'll do like we'll do a thing where I send you some modern tracks and
Yeah.
have your take on that, but it's
Like,
just so sad.
he's another guy who I love. He's
Rick, who?
Rick Beato.
Well, Rick Beato does that, yeah, and but he does it pretty well because he's a musician, music theorist, and teacher like you.
I kind of feel like him a lot of times because he's brutally honest. Like there were times on the show where Joe likes to bust me a little bit with the Jack White thing because I've not I've said many times I'm not a fan. I even sent you that video of that dude who was playing guitar, drums, and bass and singing, and I was like, I'd rather hear this than Jack White.
Right.
You know, so like I like being brutally honest. I don't want to be mean and disrespectful, but I'm going to be brutally honest about music because I can't help it. I really can't help it. You too. We give our opinions about different artists and what's his name. We definitely talked a lot about. I don't even know his name. The hottest rapper in the world, and I don't know.
Kendrick Lamar and stuff. Kendrick Lamar, right?
And yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Give
I
our
mean, no, and it's crazy because I'm not sure, like our shows that we're keeping and and the reason why I even brought this up was because in our music world, it's dominated obviously by a sort of pop music.
yeah
Hip hop is now the reigning popular music, right? So
yeah
rock and roll is not popular anymore.
no. It
And
it was popular for one day, July 5th, when Ozzy's last show.
a
That's
little bit, yeah, but sadly, I don't think that's gonna last.
it came back, and it's still the overlapping videos are still there, but it's dying. It's not gonna be like a trend.
Well, in a way, it's kind of similar to like what I'm seeing with like in the academic world with like philosophy and psychology. The new is forgetting the old,
Yeah.
and I think that's sad. And just going back a little bit is that rock and roll represents something. It's timeless,
Hmm.
and we can talk about other genres. But I mean, I'm not trying to get too controversial, but
Yeah.
I always focus on what's timeless and like rock and roll, like these genres, or rock music in general. It
Oh
is
yeah.
timeless. It unites the world in such a way that almost copies religion.
Hmm.
You know, it's not divisive. The best rock music, and even like we'll just talk about like let's say like we talked about like Led Zeppelin, right?
Yeah.
They managed to sort of like get the blues sound of the American blues
Yeah.
sound. Because America had, I mean, no offense, it came straight from America.
Oh, definitely.
English brought
Afro
it.
American blues. Delta blues.
Yeah, no, and if Led Zeppelin, let's say hypothetically they tour, let's say South America, they're
Mm.
gonna, let's say they toured Australia,
Yeah.
Africa. they're gonna draw in crowds because it's something about the music. And then that's what we do in our show. Like we try to talk to folks out
I
there,
mean,
the
look,
magic of these albums. And
Maiden has toured India. Okay,
that's
they're
crazy.
in the country in the continent of India. People love. There's metalheads, so it's worldwide. I just think the intelligence of the rock and roll person is always going to go backwards for inspiration. Where in modern music and rap, the young kids are missing the whole point about going back for inspiration. Oh, that's my grandfather's music. I don't want to hear Dr. Dre or Run DMC. And that's sad. That's what I think is happening in the hip hop world and probably in the rest of the world, like pop music. Like, I hope the Taylor Swift fans, moms of the kids that listen to Taylor Swift are saying you got to check out Lady Gaga and Madonna because this is where it comes from. There wouldn't be a Taylor Swift without Madonna, Lady Gaga, you know. So I
Well,
hope,
yeah, no, I think that's a problem. And like, when they're trying, like, it's and it's crazy. And in today's generation, if they do go back, I love how you said that they're critical, which
yeah,
is strange, where they accuse these people of all these isms, right? I'm not going to get into detail, but for me, that's a shame because then you're not going to move forward. And in
yeah,
a way, that's why today's music, not everything, but today's music, I always say, will you listen to this when you're 80 years old?
yeah,
Like, for
yeah.
example, like I had this experience where um I was with my dad, and mind you, this was really cool about rock music. Um I put on the Beatles, a track, I should have known, the Beatles, I should have known of their It's a Hard Day's Night album.
Great album.
Immediately my dad, he started, these flood of memories and emotions started coming in,
Yeah,
and the Beatles are so timeless that it made him feel youthful again. And I feel like that's so insane now. If I put on, no offense, if I put on a track from today
yeah,
or whatever, I feel, again, mind you, it's popular, sure, like for sure. But
I,
there's definitely something, and again, it's not, maybe a future episode we'll
yeah.
dissect. What is the problem with the modern? Like there is definitely, and me, I'm not that old.
I have a similar story. When I was in college, for a brief moment in time, I dabbled with music therapy as a profession. You've heard of that, right?
Yes.
You know, and it would be like psychology and stuff. So I um I was under an what do you call it, apprenticeship with a guy, and we went to like a house where there was these people sick, poor people were mentally challenged, let's say.
Mhm.
So he said, bring a boom box. This is how many years ago, and just play some music and just see how they react to it. Well, there was this one dude in the corner. I'll never forget this. He looked like maybe he was a like maybe he was a maybe an ex drug addict or just really down on his luck, really like depressed. He didn't look well. The minute I put on Good Times, Bad Times, and you hear that down out, that his head
Yeah.
pops up and he looks right at me. And as the drums kick in the days of my youth, he started bobbing his head. And before I knew it, me and him had a conversation about Led Zeppelin. And here I am, like 19 years old. I'm like scared, but it moved this guy. So
Well, and again, that's like the magic, and I think we're trying to keep the magic alive. I'll definitely, like, in terms of music, that I will, again, music has that power. In general, music is
oh yeah, yeah,
one of these. I always say music is the proof of, like let's say God or religion.
yeah.
How is it that this, you know, invisible sort of, like, you're putting sound together, and it
Hmm.
teaches that's what I say, it's proof of the soul, for example.
Yeah.
Rock music has something. It has like such a, and again, maybe we could do an episode on like music theory and like rock, explore like the origins of it and like where it's at now.
It,
But yeah,
it
man,
it even has an impact on deaf people, if you can believe this. Like
I believe it.
I did a gig with the Ronnie Wisdom band, and every New Year's Eve we did this gig at this bar,
Hmm.
and a busload of deaf people would come. I mean, 100 people packed this bar. So I'm sitting there and I'm like, holy shit, we got 100. I didn't know they were deaf, you know. So we had 100 people, and I'm like, wow, 100 people came. And then the drummer looks, he goes, yeah, but they're deaf. And I was like, wait a second, we're gonna play to deaf people. But he goes, watch what's gonna happen. So the minute we started playing, they felt the rhythm or the beat, and they started dancing. So even the primal beat affects a deaf person. It's emotionally. They're not hearing what we're hearing, but something is the vibration of it. There's a vibration in music that's very, very important, you know,
Hmm.
whether it's spiritual or how you want to look at it. In every culture, it means something.
Yeah.
You know, like you could get into like indigenous people, you could get in like South America with the different types of sambas and you know, tangos and Afro-Cuban grooves, reggae. You know, there's all that. It means so much to them. You know, jazz, blues, funk. You know, it means so much to so many different people, and it's so important. So,
Yeah, man. No, but dude, and I think on the People's Podcast, the Cheech and Manny Show, we keep the spirit of rock and roll alive. And we're such fans of Rick Beato, and fellow music historians and really smart ones.
oh
'Cause
yeah.
there's a lack of intelligence out there nowadays.
Like the guy who wrote, or the people that wrote Russian philosophy. You know, we're always looking for the intelligent podcasters. That's who I look for inspiration.
Yeah.
There's a lot of podcasters that just I find I don't find them interesting, and I've seen them do, you know, Rush and Led Zeppelin, and not, you know, not saying, oh yeah, we're the greatest thing in the world, but we give you a lot of information. We pack a ton of information in there, and I'm going to get into everything about our style, and like we end up creating our own style of what we do for the music, and
Hmm.
nobody's really doing what we're doing.
Hmm.
I've seen no one is breaking down the music uh, into parts and describing what the drums and the bass and guitars are doing by saying arpeggios or odd rhythms, breaking down the lyrics, and then Manny, the genius, will be like, "Oh, that's Stoic. Oh my God, that's right out of Aristotle. What Neil Peart's saying."
Sure.
So if you're intelligent, you're going to be like, "Wow, this is insane. What are these?"
Oh,
You know?
and that says a lot about Rush fans because obviously,
Yeah.
philosophy is like, one of the first things that comes up to mind. But yeah, man, dude, I love it.
Greatest. Well, when we get into what our greatest things are, let me just say it now, so I don't forget. I think the greatest discovery we made, and no one I don't think has made this discovery, on the Jesus Christ Superstar show, when they were in the temple,
Oh yeah.
and it was from the Gospel 21:12.
As far as I know, I don't think no. As far as I know, it's me. I don't know if that's on purpose.
I
It's
don't even think Rush. Maybe that was just a coincidence.
it's again, they're in touch with the divine powers or something.
I don't know if Neil was reading the Bible. Like, I mean, you got to really read the Bible to find that out. 21:12 in the temple.
Yeah, that was weird. And
We discovered that. I think we should go like on a urban dictionary or
yeah,
Wikipedia. Who discovered that? You know, people need to know that. You know. So anyway, we'll jump right in.
let's jump right in. Our 50th episode.
Yes. So I have an outline. If it sounds like I'm reading an essay, just stop me because it's like, you know, I wrote it like that.
Let's see.
The Cheech and Manny Show. So these guys, Cheech and Manny, we met at the temple. Now, I couldn't really remember the year. I'm going to say between 8 to 10 years ago,
That's all right.
you know?
I started at the temple, and we're using code language, so I
Yeah. Oh,
apologize.
by the way, if you've seen the show, we have is it Newspeak?
I guess it's our version of Newspeak.
Yeah, we have our own language.
As
Only the special people, we let them know. And
one that can play with the language game.
watched us enough, you could figure it out. Because I know my cousin figured it out. Because he's like, "What's your code?"
Well, that's how you know the thinker. Because, and by the way, as an aside for our audience out there, Chichi and I, and especially myself, like I'm a huge student of philosophy, and lately I've been obsessed with. And have you heard of it, Cheech? Ludwig Wittgenstein
Yeah. Oh
and
yeah, heard of him. Yeah.
Tractatus, in the just Tractatus.
Wow. Sounds.
Uh, yeah, man, and his philosophical investigations, and I think his book was Tractatus Philosophicus, Logico Philosophicus, or something like that. And he's big into language and just make me think. And I realized that we have our own language game that we play. And
Yeah.
that, so for our audience out there, it's like when we say the temple, we're not part of a cult. It's a
No, we're not Freemason. We're not in the Order of the Golden Dawn.
no, no, and you got to play our language game because again, well, yeah, like um, but the temple, you need to understand 2112, and again, I think our goal is finding liberation.
Yeah.
This was liberation in a way, and but this causes some people to attack us, right, relentlessly.
Oh, by doing the podcast is we are the characters from 2112. We're the character. The podcast is the guitar that he finds,
100%.
and we're in the temple, and there are priests who try to stop us, and they have. Believe me, I'm going to get all into that. I don't.
Yeah.
I don't talk too much about them because they're not worth talking about too much in my book. But I'm going to talk a little bit about it, you know. But because I don't want to go on about that. You know what I mean?
No, but the point is, like, again, our show kind of started from the temple,
Oh
and we've been talking about doing this,
yeah.
and I think a customer said that we asked some customers like this
Oh yeah. Yeah. I got the whole.
the way it worked, and you'll probably go into yeah, but the temple we're not part of a cult though, or religion.
No, the temple is a place where we would see each other and work. Um, and we probably met about 8 years ago, and we just hit it off. I think the first thing I ever said to you, you had a really cool crucifix on, and I collect crucifixes, and that was our first talk about crosses, and then it led to religion, then it led to music, and it never stopped with music, and then
Right.
found out you were into philosophy and poetry, literature,
Everything.
psychology. You were a psychology major, I think, at the time, and forget about it. It was just an amazing relationship. I'm so glad I met you. Um, but I didn't meet you, which is funny, and I'm going to get into that because I knew you already.
Yeah.
Um, so we met about 8 years ago. We hit it off right away. We both loved the same things. Like I said, music, philosophy, psychology, history, literature. True crimes was a big thing back then. We talked about.
Yeah, I know, and that's actually thanks to you because I had no idea about. Well, I did, but the stuff like the problems, like one of the things is as a psychopath made or like born, and like we used to have
Yeah.
the discussions that also stem to like the cult and paranormal, which I was
Oh yeah. We got into that too. We got into paranormal stuff. Outside of music, all kinds of Aleister Crowley would creep in our conversations.
yeah
On LeVay, like we get into some dark stuff as well. Jesus Christ, all the time. Religion was a big topic. We covered everything you possibly could, I think, in our conversations. And comedy was
March.
because we made each other laugh. Laughing was a big part of like getting through the temple. Just
Yeah.
a lot of stories, especially like with the young Dahmer that worked there. I mean, that was a great period. There was the guy who
I
worked.
mean, I'll be honest with you, that dude did look, he did look like Dahmer, and the fact that he kind of acted like him, like he was so expressionless,
It
kind of
was
freaked me out.
that with the Dahmer.
And mind you, at the temple, there are some possible serial killers.
Oh, I believe so.
I mean, we talked about who did our my coworker. What? No, well, I'm not gonna say, but there are a couple like serial killers in
Oh
there.
yeah, a couple Son of Sam's, a Ramirez there.
We have a Berkowitz.
Berkowitz on our hands potentially. But the Dahmer kid was funny because the Dahmer I was heavily into the show on Netflix, and he would be working, and we every time he would and JV worked there, and he was killing.
Right.
These poor like Latinos that looked like JV. So I would always like grab JV and say, hide, hide, he's coming to get pizza, hide, hide. You know what I mean? It was a joke. Whenever we saw this poor kid, we would just laugh. I'm sorry, I don't want to make fun of people, but it was fucking funny. I'm sorry.
I mean, he did. It's kind of scary because he did look like Dahmer.
And
Like
he was weird like Dahmer.
crazy because yeah, he was.
Uh,
There have been a lot of strange individuals at the temple, and like he was one of them. And it's sad because the Netflix miniseries came out.
yeah,
So I wonder if people were making fun of him. And every time we raise it up to someone else, they'll be like, "Yo, that is effed up." I'm like,
at one point, I wanted to get to know him and just ask him, like, dude, did anyone ever say you look like Dahmer? And I'd be like, I think it's cool. You know what I mean? Anyway, so that's the kind of fun stuff we had. I mean, we would just laugh. We worked mainly. Well, in the beginning, I remember you worked a lot during the week too, before you got your teaching job.
yeah, yeah, because I was in the middle of graduate school.
Yeah,
Since I started at Temple, I was doing the undergrad and then grad.
yeah,
And then slowly but surely, obviously, after graduating, I looked to other, green pastures, so to speak.
yeah.
And now I'm really like cut back. Like it's just funny. I kept cutting back, and then
Good for you. Good.
and and now I realize the shackle that I have to put.
Yeah, you're like I got like I'm shackled on my legs and my arms. You're shackled maybe to one or two fingers now. You're almost.
No, and I feel like with some people, they're shackled both in their arms and legs, and they got that probation like alarm thing.
Oh God, it's. You feel like you're in the movie 1984.
Oh,
The minute
and
you begin,
dude, they have their own newspeak. Big Brother is watching.
you
Literally, Big Brother's
know Big Brother is watching. They
watching.
every second. But I'm not gonna knock it because I get benefits from it. I get a paycheck.
Of
But
course, of course. And again, and I think we just do it for light fun. At the end of the day, our show is I mean, you're a comedian. Like I try to be, but at the end of the day, like we're like comedians. Like we're
they,
not.
they
Someone's
got
honestly.
and Dice Clay. I watched way too much of those guys in Kinnison. But yeah, it does feel like you're uh, in 1984 in the morning when the announcements are there. You're just like, oh my God. Like some days I'm just like, am I in a concentration camp? Am I Viktor Frankl? You know what I mean? Like it's like,
Yo, and it's crazy because yeah, no, 100%. I hate to fuck. Sorry, I shouldn't curse, but it's messed up because not to take the concentration camp metaphor too far, but
yeah, yeah. I'm
one
trying
of for our audience out there, Cheech and I are huge readers. I love George Orwell, and I read 1984, one of my favorite books. It's really good. And then just being at the temple, and then you making me think, I'm like, damn, like this is definitely like
yeah.
a totalitarian state with its own
Oh my
language,
God, it's
Big Brother.
yeah.
Uh, and if you try to escape the matrix, so to speak, you get attacked.
Get attacked. And if you're too conformist like ourselves and you have other interests and you're not talking about
Well, we're nonconformist, and that's the issue because and I am definitely restless. I'm a nonconformist. That's why I love rock and roll culture
yeah,
because like you can reinvent yourself.
like
I love
we
reinvention.
we drove people insane literally because we were just talking about our shit constantly. And I think it aggravated the priests that they would come over and make sure we're doing our thing. But little did they know we got by them. We got past them. We were writing episodes underneath their noses. We're
Yeah.
we wrote like a whole Christmas episode at the temple while we're being watched, by Big Brother. We're writing episodes. I think we wrote hemispheres in the temple on a Sunday. You know, remember, so we're doing what we're supposed to do at the temple, but we're also doing what we're really supposed to do, having fun writing our episodes.
Hmm.
So anyway, so that's where we met. We realized we had so much in common, and I know Manny probably, if I said I knew you, I met you when you were a young man, you know, or in your early 20s. I probably knew you when you were a kid. I'm gonna say like 12,
Oh yeah, maybe.
12, because
Yeah.
I knew your mom, who's this
Yeah.
beautiful, sweet woman, and polite, and I got to be friends with her because she'd come to the temple and I'd wait on her, and then there'd be the clan, there'd be all the kids, and I'm like,
Yeah, without going into much detail, I'm part of a huge clan.
eh. And I, you know, I got to know your mom, so I know you way back. I know you since you're a kid,
Mhm.
which is even cooler. What makes this so much, you know, cool. Um, so I just got to say this about Manny. Manny is one of the most intelligent, smart, inspirational people I know. He's taught me so much about music, philosophy, religion, psychology, literature. He's a great person, a great friend, and the perfect co host in the world. We have the best chemistry. It's pure magic. I've never had chemistry with somebody this good in my life, you know?
I
And
and I want to reciprocate all that to you too, because that is such a for our audience out there, like this is magic. Like we don't rehearse nothing. And what's interesting is that we share the same viewpoints, we agree the same opinions on certain people. Like I
yeah,
may bicker and fight with other people, but like with you, it's always like, chemistry. Like,
oh, yeah, it's amazing. It's magical.
yeah.
You know, the way you broke down like so many lyrics on Rush, especially on the Rush episodes, I was just like, this dude's you got to be a professor. You got to teach in college, like a big, like friggin' Harvard. You know what I mean? The stuff you're breaking that stuff down, it mind blowing, mind blowing, and that adds to it. That adds to, you know, you have the intellect on that. Where like some other podcasters, they don't have the intellectual side. It just,
I
you know,
compliment it.
so
And I think, and that's what makes our show unique. And if anyone tunes in to any of those episodes, you'll learn something. Like,
that's the thing. Like our goal was to teach people about these bands musically. I'd break down the music part, then I'd throw the lyrics at you, and then you break down the lyrics. And we wanted to teach new viewers, old viewers, people that are, you know, like us that know this but might pick up something. But we wanted to get young viewers, and we did.
in a way, which through some providence, it happened.
We did. And that was a big in
Fact. I mean, it's pretty cool because I think that our show was always meant to be an escape from, the temple or whatever, or
yeah,
like
reality of
at the
life.
end of the day, like really talk about like the our passion.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the secrets to our show.
Yeah. And I think a lot of people are stuck in their Middletown dreams, which is another code word, and they can't do these things.
Well, you know what's crazy? I feel the envy sometimes,
Oh,
like,
yeah, yeah.
and the thing is, it's like, and for our audience out there, Cheech is a phenomenal bass player in an
Thank
actual phenomenal rock band, Pottersfield VX.
you so much.
So that's like some freedom, and like music frees you, and you got the leg up on, certain people. And I feel like that's a cause of envy. They look at us here like,
Yeah,
these
yeah.
guys,
So,
how
what,
can they talk about Rush for like hours? Like,
yeah, people were getting like,
I'm gonna talk my Temple News speak, or
how are you guys talking about like? I remember one person said like, you're like the Jehovah Witness of Rush. You know, you're trying to convert everybody to like Rush. You know, we would be talking about Rush for hours, and then we go into philosophy, talk about Nietzsche for the next hour. It was just, I mean, we don't work together anymore. Unfortunately, I miss you, but
yeah, I
Saturday,
know that's. Right,
Saturday.
schedule down. That was the sad part. Like,
And it was good because it was in the beginning of our podcast. So we got to like really come up with ideas and say, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. Let's do this. What do you think of that idea? So we threw a lot of ideas at each other, and it
yeah,
really worked. It really worked at that point. And then, going back, like I said earlier, our sense of humor, you know, we just laugh. There's so many crazy. We have the same sense of humor exactly, and
no, it's crazy because we should be comedy writers too because
we should.
we make people like our actually our third co-host usually Mr. Joe Silkman, and he has a hard time keeping up with our humor, not negatively, it's just so
Yeah,
funny. It's like
yeah,
we're going like 1,000 miles an hour, like bouncing back and forth, and we're out with our fellow Temple coworkers. Shout out to them.
yeah.
They used to also get in on the fun and
Oh yeah, definitely. And like, and our humor is not for everybody. And so
ah,
a lot of people might be offended, especially with me because I come from the '80s. Like I think Andrew Dice Clay, he's God. So I'm always gonna do a Dice reference, and that's gonna offend a billion people, but I don't care. Uh, so the idea of the podcast. So what's your remembrance of that? Like how the idea came up?
so I know we talked about it, and we were throwing it around. Like it was probably so last year, like even before that, like some customers suggested that, some coworkers,
Yeah,
um, and I don't know if it was you and I were like, all right, let's do this. Let's put a camera and film, and we're trying to figure out dates and stuff,
yeah.
and I had a trip to Guatemala that I already planned. So I think I was like, all right, like we'll definitely do this date and stuff or whatever. And at
Wait,
that point, I
wait,
started.
weird. You were in Utah too at one point.
Yeah, that was the summer where I was doing a lot of traveling, like it
Yeah,
kind of in a row, which is
yeah,
really cool. Yeah, actually, you just reminded me of that. And but so I was like, all right, this is the date. Let's do this.
yeah.
We got Wi-Fi, and mind you, the hotels were kind of hard because they don't have where I was. They didn't really have like a private room. Like,
Right, yeah.
but in a way, it worked.
It worked. Yeah, there was some early. The early stuff is great, man. Excuse me, like the New Wobbin people loved, you know, and eventually the New Wobbin led us to some of my favorite episodes on Paul Diano, and all the Maiden we did. We did two Maiden. Um, so So basically, after our Saturday and Sundays of coming up with the ideas at the temple, we did it. And where am I? Like I said, the priests were always in our department lurking. They were always lurking.
Yo, you got a lot of heat. Yeah, like from and it's strange because I always look at it from like a just our viewers out there, like another newspeak thing that we do is philosophy.
Yeah.
And like, I was looking at it from like first of all, you can look at it from a religious point of view, but
Yeah.
the devil's in the details. I
Oh
go
yeah.
detail, like literally no pun intended, but without going too much detail. But from a phenomenological perspective, phenomenology, which is one of my favorite schools of philosophy. If anything, I would teach a class on that. But I bracketed everything. I'm like, why are we pissing off? Why all this? Like, you know, you ever seen like those prison lights that guard prisoners from leaving the
Oh
prison?
yeah. Yeah.
From like you and I be talking, and then the light will be on, and it's like the cover from like Band on the Run,
Oh
Pomegranate.
yeah. Yeah.
And we'll be like, yo, like,
There'd be time the head
right.
would be literally standing where we were, and we'd have to like make like we're doing our thing.
No, and it's crazy because you be working, I be working,
Yeah,
but anyway, back to phenomenology. I was like, I bracketed everything. I'm like, all right, I get it. Time is money,
yeah.
but why this attention? Like, what? Why? And I realized in a way, I don't know if you would agree, it's like envy.
It's a
Uh,
lot,
they
lot of
they saw empathy and happiness.
Yeah.
and joy because we were actually happy
Yeah.
being at work.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you, we were probably the two most when we were together, we were the two most happiest individuals. So this is the phenomenology part because I was studying the phenomena of it and like what's up with all this hate or attention because at the end of the day, we got our work done.
Always.
I wasn't understanding it, but they took an issue with friendship. And again, if you listen to 2112, I mean, music, friendship, and all that, those are like things that get attacked, and
They didn't want to see two guys having fun, talking about music and themes, and they would walk by and they had no clue, So, but we won, not like
yeah,
protagonists in 2112, unfortunately. Uh, but so where am I? So yeah, so last August, we launched our first episode. Manny took care of the technical stuff. I wrote the episodes, and it took off. The new wave of British heavy metal.
which is our first thing that we've been talking about for like we always talk about the new wave British heavy
Yeah,
metal, and when we were at the temple, we go into music theory.
yeah.
Like it was like a class
It was,
on
and for
rock
the
music
people around,
and theory and philosophy.
and the customers loved it. They loved it. I remember one guy saying, "God, you guys are like talking about some heavy shit, man. That's amazing. I feel like I'm watching a podcast. You know?
Well, and just to give it like a quick, like a minute example, like we'll be talking, for example, like Black Sabbath, right? And uncovering the origins of heavy metal and going through the school of heavy metal. Like
Yeah,
literally, we'll be working.
yeah,
And for example, like we talk about Black Sabbath, but then like, what were the first metal bands? Like, Helter Skelter, The
yeah.
King,
Oh yeah,
and then discuss, for example, like we both we began to discover that we love Iron Maiden,
right.
Def Leppard, and especially the newer British heavy metal. Like we would not shut up. This was before Rush.
Yeah, yeah,
So like let's do an episode on this so people know what the new wave of British heavy metal is
yeah.
and keep that
Well,
metal flag alive.
going back to the origins of like Deep Purple, Sabbath, and Led Zeppelin. Those were the main guys that started it. Motorhead, and that was our first episode. Everybody loved it. It was great success. And then we said, okay, we did that. What's next? Well, the other band that we couldn't stop was Rush. And this became a little crazy.
Yeah,
This
we went on a roll with that one. I think most
became
of our first episodes were Rush episodes, and I was in Utah I think when we started.
yeah, it became an obsession. It was like, okay, Rush was just we did the first album, Fly By Night, together, and then we talked about what did I call prehistoric Rush
Mhm.
and all the bands. Like Getty wasn't even in the original band. It's like so funny to think about it. Uh, and how they kicked out Getty and then they rehired him, and they had these issues with him and stuff.
Mhm.
And then our first official Rush episode was Caress of Steel,
Mhm.
which has become our favorite, one of our favorite albums, because it was like not a lot of people hate it, but
And now the episode we try to, in a way, we were saying why, like
yeah,
exploring maybe some possible theories as to why people didn't like the album. And again, I think we came away with a good consensus where we're like, all right, maybe it was still, first of all, it was like progressive proto heavy metal.
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Maybe people weren't ready for like the likes of Dream Theater and
Well,
Tool. We talked about Tool.
what happened was, I mean, that stuff was going on with Genesis and yeah, Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Art rock was
You
doing.
know what the difference is? I feel like, and I think we talked about it on that episode. Uh, but I think Rush took it too far. But that's great. Like we loved it. Like 'cause we're already fans of like
But
Genesis.
I think the first two albums, first,
Oh, and we talked about that. Like the first two albums are like Led Zeppelin.
yeah,
Crazy because
the exception of Fly By Night, like it starts to get radio friendly and proggy. Like by
yep.
Snow Dog is definitely proggy. So you see, but yet there's simple songs on there, like In the End and stuff like that. So then it gets like, okay, Rush is getting proggy, and then here comes Caress of Steel, and the fans were like, I don't hear Working Man on this. I don't hear
No, and for any prog fan,
Anthem.
oh, this is amazing. Like, but I feel as though that, yeah, you're right, and that's such a good point because I think we talked about it because Led Zeppelin first is like a blues rock record,
Oh yeah,
almost akin to Led Zeppelin.
yeah,
The second one follows the same structure. Only difference is now we have the great Neil Peart and
yeah.
huge different, but it's strangely enough, it's poppy. Like Fly
This is
By Night is
like
so
when
catchy.
Light is on the radio. It's such a genius like radio song, but it
Yeah.
has aggressive hits, bass, and drum fills. In the End, By Torn the Snow Dog.
Well, and the irony is with 2112, they didn't tone down the prog. If anything, they
Well, they lied. Like, so the reason why we love Rush is they didn't take like the shit that, and we're similar. Like, we're not taking shit from our priests.
no. And,
No,
and we you and I embracing it even more. That brought
yeah, we're doing with our thing. Yeah, at our
yeah, so and it's crazy because we were you kind of united in our love for Rush, which I'm surprised when a lot of people don't understand, which I mean, I guess I get it because they're like, how can you guys keep talking about Rush? Even like Mr. Joe Silkman will say, guys, take it easy on the Rush. Like,
yeah.
but like, what do you think, man? Why Rush? Like, what?
Well, you know,
You already said one idea
yeah,
that they represent that freedom. Like,
but
we're
yeah.
to the
Well,
man.
going into 2112, I'm going to go back to your original question. Going into 2112, Rush basically was told on this album, we want a commercial album, something like Bad Company, something straight ahead. We need hits. And they're like, yeah, 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 you're going to get all that. You're going to get all that. And they had one shot. This was it. Similarly to Bruce with Born to Run.
Very, where they just put all their effort, all their it got they're like, gentlemen, like listen, this might be our last album. Let's go off with a bang.
Yep.
Let,
So
let's do this.
so Rush had a couple insiders that were on their sides, the executives that knew Rush was gonna not. So when Rush was recording, the insiders would come in and tell the producers or whatever, oh yeah, 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 it's gonna be really radio friendly and good. So when they were done, they gave the album to Polygram with the label they were on, and they were fucking pissed. And Polygram is like, you know what? If this album doesn't sell, we're dropping you. You're done. So Rush didn't care, and they came off a bad album to the record label. It was a Down the Tubes tour. Caress of Steel didn't do well financially, so they were already in the shitter with the label.
Mhm.
But the album blows up, takes off. They reached stardom, and then the label was like, "Okay, you guys did it." I don't know if they said that they were wrong, for not pushing them, but you know, they said you got whatever you want. They signed, I think, a 5 album deal, from like Farewell to Kings to maybe like Grace Under Pressure. And then they said you have complete artistic freedom now, so we're not going to bother you. Now you can never get that anymore. I always remember reading all the Rush books, thinking, "Wow, they have artistic freedom. They could do whatever they want, and the record company has to put the album out." And they did not have a bad album since 2112. Every album sold really well. A Farewell to Kings, Hemispheres. Yeah, they didn't have the breakout hits till Permanent Waves.
But I will
I
say,
take it back, Closer to the Heart. So the next album, they got the single. They got that single.
Well, I'll be honest with you. First of all, like after, first of all, 2112 begins their, I would say maybe their renaissance, where you have this band's insane. And just thinking about it, like 2112, Farewell to Kings, Hemispheres.
Yeah,
Oh my God, those three albums alone, like if for our audience out there, you should listen to Rush.
yeah,
Because again, if you don't if you're not affected by the music, I feel like a lot of people don't like Rush, don't really listen to Rush, and just base them off moving pictures. Which
yeah,
listen, fair, because moving pictures is their massive, and again, we're talking about moving pictures in the 80s.
yeah.
But they their music has something. They were on a roll. And mind you, once they enter permanent waves, moving pictures and signals
About it.
are hit machines, even going forward to Grace Under Pressure.
But even 2112, they had huge success on it. But there's hits on that should have been on the radio. You know,
And I think we discussed why weren't
but
like I would argue Passage to Bangkok is really catchy. Like
Magic Bangkok could have been a radio friendly song. I can't think of the Lessons. The song Lessons should have been a hit. Tears could have been a soft rock song.
it's weird that it's more like maybe like a Rush mystery. Why weren't the other tracks hits?
Probably because the concept album was so different and amazing that it was actually at a time when prog rock was in the middle stages of almost dying. Because
In a way, yeah, because Prague had its short success period.
yeah, you could say like Sid Barrett, at the Acid Prague in 69, 68, and Yes came out in 69 with no experience necessary. Early Genesis, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, Pictures at an Exposition. So, and then it blew up. By 1973, Yes, Emerson, Lake and Palmer, King Crimson, uh, Genesis, Pink Floyd, they were all Gentle Giant, Camel, Egg, just naming a bunch of like bands out there where Prague was a thing. It was huge. So Rush came out at almost the end of the Renaissance. By 76, was it Foxtrot 76?
Yeah, and I will say the thing that I think the thing that like maybe went against Rush was that they were Canadian
They were in English, yeah.
or English, and they weren't American. Not they weren't American either. And American's so interesting because in America, and mind you, this is a hot take, but there were some prog bands, but not as much as the English ones.
No, English started it.
In America, by the way, I'm going to see Styx later. Styx was in a way kind of like the American, very
Yeah,
proggy, very, progressive. So Rush were sort of like, wait, and it confused their fans because they released their self-titled debut, which when you put it on, you'll be like, wait, like it has the song Working Man, din din din, like
Kansas, which is American Prague.
yeah, yeah.
American Prague. Like to me, Carry On Wayward Son is the greatest song ever written for radio because it's got everything I want in a song. Riffs, great, beautiful lyrics, great singing, great bass line, odd meters, and it's on the radio. A lot like Rush too, but you could say Free Will would be the equivalent. But I just think 76 was the end of prog rock because
We'll share our future episode. Why? Because of a little genre called punk, which you can look forward to that.
yeah, 1976, the birth of the Pistols. The Sex Pistols come out. The Damned, CBGBs in New York City starts introducing
Like a rock reinvention.
yeah, television, blonde.
Maybe much needed, maybe.
Oh, yeah, and then there's like then
But it did have an influence. And again, I know, Iron Maiden might deny it, but the speed. I mean,
oh yeah, no,
heavy metal. Like again, I just want to make a quick hot take on this. Black Sabbath, I love Black Sabbath, but they're
yeah,
slow.
yeah, they're doomy, doom.
Down, down, down. Like it's slow. Meanwhile, an Iron Maiden when they came out, ding, 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 like I feel like the metal. the even Metallica ding 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 that like it sounds punk. So maybe it's like I always say there's a rock and roll god. It's rock and roll
Well,
prophets.
well, think about it. In the 70s, in England again, the birth of art rock, prog rock. England again, the birth of punk. England again,
Yeah,
new
you're right.
birth of heavy metal.
Yeah.
Birmingham
And by the way, the new wave of British heavy metal. Why? Because in the 60s there was the British invasion. So it's like
again. We owe everything to the British for, I think, rock music. You know, people might get mad being Americans, but fight me on it. I'll fight you back. You know what I mean?
that in Canada, which for some of our Canadian.
Canada,
They have Neil Young. They have Joni Mitchell.
yeah.
Help me, Cheech.
Uh, what's their name? Anne Murray. I don't know, but oh, they had the Guess Who. The Guess,
Oh, the band, some band members.
yeah, they were good. And the band, the band. Wait, the band is from Canada. I always think Levon Helms because it's so swampy, but the band are from Canada.
Yeah.
But
And the band were kind of misunderstood because they enjoyed some success, but they were another band where like, wait, who are you guys? We're kind of
they
confused.
American. They just have that. They have that American sound. That
Yeah, it's strange, but I feel like to go back to Rush, that was their problem. They put Caress of Steel, and fans are like, "What the fuck? Like, this is
yeah.
not Led Zeppelin-y. This is
If
weird."
Rush's first album was proggy, Caress of Steel would have been accepted.
Yes, and by the way, Caress of Steel, I will say, if you're not used to prog and prog metal, you're well, Bastille is actually pretty good,
Yeah,
and the first tracks are good. Once you start getting into the long ones, those are challenging listens because
yeah.
weird.
It's well, the Necromancer gets into odd stuff at the end where Nails
But
start.
you gotta admit, it's weird. And
Oh
Neil,
yeah, I
well,
I love it. I love it.
I love it too. But
But
something
then there's
about
radio friendly songs on there like Lakeside Park. That could have been on the.
well, I just feel that people maybe rushed into. Maybe, I don't know who to blame. There wasn't a good part in promoting it. I
Yeah,
heard the album cover was also maybe a reason why, because it's a cool album cover, but they were like, wait, because Rush actually and actually technically, um, the Rush's album covers are really cool,
yeah.
but I don't know, something about 2112 just resonated with people. And then
Well,
going back to Bruce Springsteen, Born to Run was his third album. His first album is really good. Second one is one of my favorites, very underrated. Maybe we can do like in the future like a prehistoric Springsteen where you ask me questions and
oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I'm reading his bio right now.
I
But
read Born to Run today, and the first thing I thought of was in the intro. This is 2112. There's the same story.
oh, 100%. And you have to think like they didn't really change anything because
No,
2112 is still a pretty, and by the way, the three tracks on the second half are, in my opinion, radio friendly. Why weren't they hits? I'm not sure. But the 21-minute epic it is weird. You have to admit it. And you need to have an understand, and this is crazy for our audience out there. If you just listen to 20 Rush's 2112, you need to have an understanding of Ayn Rand's philosophy.
yeah, that's another thing. Like
It is difficult.
they brought in Ayn Rand and her book Anthem. That's what it's basically.
Which, by the way, philosophy hates her. They hate her. I don't know if you, I keep telling you. So now, philosophy students, if they put on 2912, they're not going to understand it because now no one teaches Ayn Rand or
It's
objectives.
because I think Ayn Rand is a genius because it's about being an individual. Fuck what other people think. Do what you want. Believe in yourself. As long as you're not, you know, committing crimes. You know what I mean? Like, and you're obeying the law and everything. But believe in yourself. Fuck what other people say.
No, and Ayn Rand sort of like described like she's actually it's crazy because she's actually very similar to Friedrich Nietzsche.
Yeah,
And Nietzsche spoke of the Ubermensch, right? The Ubermensch. She spoke of the consummate man as being a heroic being, like you said. And what the controversy with her part is that man's own happiness is the the moral purpose of life. Rush took that to mean, well, for example, like she was a big believer in free will, right? To express her free will. So that's where 21 told the man, the heroic man, who knows who it is? It could be one of us, but what
Yeah,
made him different, he decided to pursue his own happiness and he committed suicide because he was like, F this.
yeah, yeah,
I'd rather kill my. It's controversial,
yeah.
100%. But you need to have an understanding of Ayn Rand philosophy, and that's another problem because if you don't, that's what's so weird because I feel like maybe there was a hunger for it.
There was because back in the '70s, people were reading Ayn Rand. She was famous.
Mhm.
She was on Donahue. She was accepted. She was an accepted philosopher. Like I brought her up to our friend, at the temple. I just saw him recently, and he was telling me he's doing in the fall the Greeks and the Stoics. Forgot to tell you the whole class on that. So I wanted to bring up Ayn Rand to him and say why is she? Yeah, she's a literature genius, the fountainhead, all that stuff. But her philosophy is equally as good, and it inspired the greatest band in the universe. And then kids went out and like myself, I always tell the story when I went to the library and I asked Mrs. Benoit, "Do you have the book Anthem by Ayn Rand?" And she goes, "Oh, you mean the Fountainhead?" No, I said, "No, no, Anthem." She's like, "I don't know that one." And she looked in the remember those things that they were like a index card before computer.
Oh, you talking about like the? I know what you're talking about.
It had a name, so it had every book that she wrote in it.
You talking like a bibliography kind
Bibli- on the index card. And she's like, "Yeah, yeah, she's got a book." And I said, "Yeah, I know." And she's like, "Well, why do you want to read it?" And I said, "Because of this band Rush." And then I brought her in. She was so cool. She was like, "I want to hear it." So I told her the whole concept, 2112. And she got me, and actually, she got me Anthem. And then after she got it for me, she's like, I can get in trouble for this because it's been banned. They banned it from the libraries. That and a book called Forever by Judy Blume.
of. Hmm.
You know, so the time out she got it for me, and she's like, "Just don't tell anybody. No one's gonna care." And I read it, and I was just like, "Holy Christ!" And I read it, and it wasn't a hard read for a 16-year-old, 15-year-old Cheech. I read it, made sense, and here I am, an Ayn Rand fan at 15. And the next album, I go back to her, and I'm like, I need to read the Kubla Khan by Samuel um, Taylor.
That's what Rush does. It pushes you to like.
Yeah,
And mind you, I'd been for audience out there, I'm like a psych student, but I'm a big kind of like I'm similar to I'm not pinned down on just one thought. I love philosophy, psychology, literature, cinema, where I try to see these
right.
like connections, right? That's why I love Rush because they make you think.
Yeah,
And especially starting with 2112, like they make me fire on all cylinders. Not to mention, and you're more an expert of the music.
yeah.
It's unlike anything you'll hear,
Well,
which
well, going back to your original question, like why Rush? I can't say in my life like what am I an expert in? I'm not an expert on the bass. I'm a student of the bass. You know what I mean? Like I would never say I'm an expert on the bass because I'm going to be studying it to the day I die until I become an expert. You know, I'm a student of the bass,
Hmm.
but I will consider myself a expert on Rush because out of all the bands, every band in the world, Rush, I dedicated my life to that band. Every album, every song, every lyric, I didn't even have to really. That wasn't much work. Those episodes. It wasn't much work for me.
No, same with me. Like there really is no research because you and I already are very familiar with philosophy, you with the music theory, musicology. And so like when we talk about like let's say we break down permanent waves, right? And we start talking about, Jacob's ladder. Well, we
Right.
can go
Yeah, you nailed that with the religious aspect.
and my favorite song, Free Will, which he got from Ayn Rand, where at the end of the day, we're like, what do you have? You have to profess your free will. By doing that, you made a choice, right? And it goes back to Ayn Rand's objectivist philosophy because Neil Peart was reading books like you said, like The Fountainhead, um,
Atlas Shrug.
Atlas Shrugged, where that free will is a huge component in that.
Yeah.
In that, that's how, like that's, you have nothing else. Well, your happiness is dependent on your embracing the free will. And then Neil kind of like follow that, in the Rush music. So that's why, yeah. And again, sorry for this long-winded turn, but just to our audience out there, we're obsessed with Rush. Like, Cheech is a Rush expert.
And for me to go on a platform and talk about Rush with somebody who's an expert like you on philosophy, psychology, history, and loves Rush too, and I could say, well, Manny, what does this line mean? Oh, that's Stoic. That's straight up Stoic philosophy. And
Yeah,
I wasn't listening to Rush. I was listening to the lyrics because I was like, oh my god. But did I know what they meant? Yeah, some of the stuff, but not what you taught me.
yeah.
I didn't get into like Carl Jung. I knew like Greats Under Pressure. Carl Jung was in there and stuff, and some of the other stuff, and Ayn Rand and Nietzsche. But I didn't really. I wasn't breaking it down. And my mom said to me, you forget. I got a minor in music history in college. I remember, like I said earlier in the episode, I was thinking about music therapy, but I wasn't into it that much, so I chose music history as a minor. And she's like, "With your podcast, you're actually you're a music historian now. You're actually doing it."
Hmm.
And a
Yeah.
crazy story of right before 9/11 happened, I got accepted to Hunter College to start my master's degree,
Mhm.
and I was going to be what you call a musicologist and study musicology, which is the study of all forms of music in the world. Everything from African high life to, like, crazy tribal music from tribes on the coast of India, you know, Gregorian chant. So I walked into the room. Literally, this was like a couple days before 9/11, and Hunter College is right near the towers. So I took the train down, got in the classroom, uh, pen to paper. The teacher's like, okay, I'm going to play some Gregorian chant. I want you guys to analyze it and write where it's from, what year it is, and what country it is. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, so I'm sitting here like an idiot. And then at the end of the, class, I went to my counselor. I said, I can't do this, and then it was either that dedicate your life to musicology or being in a band that's gigging all the time and stuff. And I was like, as much as I love musicology, I love playing out live more. So I didn't have the time.
College would have been more like the bookworm academic type, which is kind of like me and psych in a way,
Eh,
because I mean, one of the things that you too, but like I read a lot. And when I studied psychology, a lot of the best psychologists read a lot and
oh
understand.
yeah,
And so theory, and again, most psychology, it's kind of something what you said. And that's why Rush, I love Rush because it makes me flex my psychology muscles. Because in every song they do, like they have a aspect of human psychology that makes me think. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like for example, like a song like The Spirit of the Radio. In a way, in order to the song is catchy, first of all.
oh yeah, radio friendly.
You'll get more out of it if you're a musicologist and or a psychologist because when you understand, for example, like how the auditory system works and how your brain processes music. it's next level. And then it makes me think, wait a minute, but that's so weird because it's just waves. And that's what Rush say. But but music has this strange effect, and then Rush realizes there's a moral aspect to it. And now you get into philosophy and ethics. That's what the song is about,
Yeah,
which is crazy. And again, just not to be long-winded, but and maybe you can move on to the next point, but yeah, we love Rush.
yeah, yeah.
Are the greatest band, and mind you, I consider myself like Beatles historian, Springsteen, and Rush. Those three. Oh,
and
by the
I,
way,
I,
I'm being generous. I'm not. I forgot Yes and Genesis. Genesis might be.
well,
Like,
this is going to be a nice segue into Dylan because you're a Dylanologist.
what's funny with Dylan? I've been obsessed with Dylan, but I didn't know it. And what's great about our friendship and chemistry, we bounced off because you made me realize, wait, I love Dylan. I keep forgetting how much I love Dylan. And to do the Dylan episodes was so magical because it made me like, yeah, like and even it's funny, shout out to my girlfriend. She realized how much I love Dylan too.
Oh,
Which she noticed that. She was like, yeah, I know you're obsessed with Dylan. It's like,
oh yeah, he's. I mean, I loved. I'm just trying to get to the Dylan because I had well next when we record part two we're gonna break.
Cheech, before you continue, I know it was Mr. and we love Joe Silkman, amazing dude.
Yeah.
Shout out to Joe Silkman, but he was like, "How can you?" I wasn't sure if it was him or somebody. How can you guys do a 4 hour episode on like Dylan? In my head, I'm like, how can you not? You could write a whole dissertation on this man.
Oh, people have. I looked it up. People have done their masters on Bob Dylan.
Visions of Johanna, like just that song alone, how
Yeah.
haunting. Like anyway, not to go on a tangent, but yeah, that's our next after Rush. We went on a Dylan like.
And that remind me in the next episode we'll break down our top five Rush episodes, five Dylan
I
episodes.
love it. I
Right?
love it. Yeah.
So all right, Bob Dylan's funny. So you kept bringing Bob Dylan up to me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, yeah, I like Dylan. I like Dylan. You know,
And I'm surprised. I noticed you weren't as crazy about Dylan. Like, dude, how? I mean,
I I don't know. Like
Springsteen, you one time made fun of him too because you're like, yeah, Springsteen, I don't like that Heartland rock. Like, it's kind of corny. I was like, no, no.
really I said that. It's
I
crazy.
remember, I think it was you or somebody. I think it was you though, because we started going around and you're like, yeah, but you don't like.
Well, you gotta understand. I always listen to Born in the Born to Run, then Born in the USA, and I missed Nebraska, and I
Right.
missed well, I got into the river, but like not like this. Now that I'm learning from you, like now Bruce Springsteen is a freaking genius. He's not
Right.
an MTV guy who's dancing on stage. He's a genius. I knew he was a genius on Born to Run. Everybody,
Yeah. Yeah.
but
He definitely is on par. By the way, he's an underrated guitarist, first of all.
Born to Run is some great guitar licks.
Oh, and he's so underrated. He doesn't even like he's weird because he's kind of humble like that. He doesn't really and like Neil Peart, insane lyricist, but
Yeah.
coming from a different perspective. He's more definitely the literature. Like Neil Peart, philosophy.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Because just going back to Ayn Rand, she used fiction as a vehicle for philosophy. Like the best philosophers do that. They create works of fiction. But Springsteen read Steinbeck. He read like he started reading more of like watch. Also, he got influenced by the American cinema. So
yeah.
he represents the like not Prague. He represents America.
Great sense America. He's
Right, right. And just going back, he was influenced. Let's return to Dylan.
oh yeah,
Dylan did in a way, and I'm reading his bio right now. Not his bio, but his Chronicles, Volume One.
yeah.
Which we kind of shared on another episode. We both own it. And shout out again to my girlfriend and her friend that her friend gifted me it, knowing that without watching our show really, her friend like knows how much of a Dylan fan I am.
That's awesome.
But I realized like Dylan is very interesting in that he, in a way, also like if there was no Dylan, there'd be no Springsteen.
No, I agree.
Huh? But anyway, let's go back to Dylan though. But go ahead. What do
He
you got for Dylan?
part two of that. So you brought up Dylan, and I loved Dylan, and I covered Dylan in a lot of bands, especially in the Ronnie Wisdom band. I loved the hits, you know, like a Rolling Stone, um, Knocking on Heaven's Door, Tangled Up in Blue, you know, the radio songs, you know. Hey Joe,
But you never, now correct me if I'm wrong, you never explored the albums though.
I did. I had Blonde on Blonde, but I listened to it, but I didn't listen to it. You know what I mean? Like you know, it was good. I liked it. I think I was doing, but was it Blonde on Blonde? I had one of the albums that we did, and I had to learn a song from it. What was the one? Something Tombstone Blues on. What is
My favorite, yeah. That's like the most heaviest.
Blonde on Blonde?
Highway 61
Yeah,
Revisit.
I covered that. I was in a band with a singer who loved Ozzy, worshipped Ozzy, and he worshipped Dylan, and he sang like both. Blood on the Tracks too. Forget about it. That's the album we talked a lot about at the temple. Blood on the Tracks.
Yep. Oh, that's right. And go back to the temple conversations. I, this story always resonates with me because you said your favorite bass line, and it's a strange, uncanny bass line, and Meet Me in the Morning.
Yes, yeah.
Remember that? And again, I said I love Loud on the Tracks. Like,
I'll never forget that night. Yeah, and then I was like, let's do Blood on the Tracks, and then you're like, well, let's go back further. So I said, all right, let me try this. And I was like up against you, the expert. I'm like, I really got to do a good job. So I did my research, and we did it like Rush. We did Freewheeling. Um, Times Are Gonna Change.
like a prehistoric rush.
Yeah, we did those two albums.
Which, by the way, we should do like after doing the major Springsteen albums, do prehistoric Springsteen.
Oh
And
yeah. Well, I think we did Freewheeling. Times Are Gonna Change, and Bring It. No. That was it. That was it. And then we started. We did that episode as an intro. Then Bring It All Back Home. We did Highway 61 Revisited, Blonde on Blonde, and then we got into the whole folk rock going to electric, and
yeah,
then I didn't remember that. I didn't like. I forgot about that. And then it just blew my mind. The movie just came out. I went back. I was like, this guy is amazing. Analyzed the shit out of his lyrics. In the beginning, I was having a hard time, and you corrected me a lot. I said, all right, I'm going to do better on the next episode. And I think by time we got to Highway 61, I really brushed up on it and was doing good. So I went nuts, and I wrote like Highway 61, Blonde on Blonde, Bring It All Back Home. And I think you were kind of like, all right, cool, we did some Dylan. I'm like, no, I'm not stopping.
no, I was skeptical on
John
continuing
Harding,
Jonathan Harding and
Nashville Skyline.
I'm like, don't listen to him. Like, no, actually, these sounds are Dylan can do no wrong. Like, and by the way, for our audience out there, my favorite album is Blood on the Tracks because I'm always more. I always lean on more of the melancholy and romantic because you could argue, and now I realize Desire might be his like pinnacle. I bet
Well, yeah, up next. Yeah.
we'll talk about without going into much details, but thanks to the Dylan episodes, I always forget like how much I love Bob Dylan. Like,
Yeah, and then you got me going, man. I was like, I can't stop, Manny. I can't stop. And then you're like, all right, we'll do John Wesley Harding, and then you're like, holy cow, you were learning from it. Then I said, oh, we got to do Nashville Skyline, and you were skeptical. You're like, but then we realized Chris Christopherson said it. He invented country rock.
in a way, yeah, like Dylan is like an inventor of genres, which is weird. Like Dylan's strange, like how he operates, and he's another example similar to Rush, where he does his own thing. He
Yeah,
doesn't care if, and it's great. I applaud him so much for it, like honestly, because he makes me realize, you know what? And the movie did a good job with this, where Dylan was like, "F the public," like, like
Rush. He's exactly like Rush. I mean, before Rush, but.
funny. There was a funny scene in the movie. I don't know how you feel about this. Now, Pete Seeger, like, don't get me wrong. Like, I can see why the influence gargantuan in like the folk world, right? There's a scene where one of these blues artists in the
Oh yeah,
movie.
wiping my
Can
nose.
you argue who might have had been influenced by like Lightning
Hopkins.
Hopkins, right? He's playing blues and bing, 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 bing,
Yeah,
bing. Now poor Pete Seeger comes in his little banjo. I'm like, then
yeah,
Bob Dylan comes in, ding, ding, then like, dude, it's like that's what Dylan knew. Like whatever Seeger was doing, it's getting left behind.
yeah. Oh yeah.
Like if anything, like if there was no Dylan, there probably no Zeppelin.
No, no.
It just and that's for me it's mind-boggling about that's what for me it's mind-boggling about Dylan. And then he goes back to folk on John Wesley Harding, and when I was exploring that, I was like, "Yo, this is like Nebraska." Before I even tell you, now
Right.
let's see how Dylan like
He did the three electrics. Bringing on back home. Highway 61 revisited.
yeah,
Blind.
visions.
He goes folk again, and I was like, that's what blew me away. And then he goes country, a Nashville skyline, and
Which
then
is like, and Springsteen is uncanny because he does something similar where he releases. First of all, Springsteen is electric, right? But like starting with the E Street Shuffle, which you gotta listen to, but that's prehistoric Springsteen. But Born to Run and Darkness, and then on the river, he does this strange thing where he starts getting influenced by country, and
yeah,
inspires the River song
right, right. I love that song.
very similar to Dylan, and he started going also more in these more stark, little folky songs, which reached their pinnacle in Nebraska.
Yeah, in Nebraska, I just wrote, and it blew me away. Oh my god. Oh my.
Yeah, that might be for
That's gonna be. I mean, Bruce Springsteen. We haven't done. We did a pre-talk about him, but I think he's going to be our next Dylan for our fans out there because I wrote 2 episodes already. Um, we're going to keep going, and then to keep going with Dylan, we did and my kid keeps reminding me we did a 4-hour episode on the Basement Tapes.
You know, it's crazy. Joe said something about that. I'm like, but I was like, no, I love Joe. That's why I love Joe because he gives this interesting perspective, right, from another viewpoint. And I feel like, but for us, how can you not do a 4 hour episode on the basement tapes? I also was skeptical. I was like, geez, I don't know, man. Like,
Yeah,
really?
no. I was like, no, we got to do the fucking Basement Tapes. There's bootlegs out there. Quinn the Eskimo came from there, and God, what's the other? The Peter Paul and Mary song came from there, from the bootlegs, and the band's on it. And then we just went, and it was raw, recorded on like a 4 track, and they didn't even care. And then he almost wanted to destroy it after he was out of his mind.
Realized that Dylan formed the band.
He did,
And that, and by the way, the album is actually fantastic. Yes, it's a little like, if anything, it's very influential to like lo-fi
yeah.
or like, you know how people record tapes on like SoundCloud or something like
Looks like Nebraska.
influential. But yeah, how can you not do it for our episode? Because we realized, because now then we did the band and
The
talk,
importance of his backup band, the band, making that album led to us doing music from Big Pink, which was one of my favorites because that we just
and that became one
it
thanks to
gave
our
me
show, my favorite album.
to Emmanuel. Like, oh my God.
I discovered that. I didn't, and by the way, my name is Manuel, so it's like that's so cool. Like I did not know that Richard Manuel
Like
was a lead singer.
people need to know more about this poor soul who, passed away in a really bad way. But like, they need to know about this guy. He's a genius. I mean, band people do, but not everyone thinks Levon Helms and Danko, but
That's what I thought. I
way.
didn't realize that Richard Manuel was the soul, and Levon Helms was like the Holy Spirit.
And then we did Blood on the Tracks, which was like my favorite album already. That was a no brainer. And then we both loved it, and that goes back to the beginning. Like we started on Blood at the Tracks, like let's do Blood on the Tracks, and I'm like, let's let's go. No, I think I wanted to do Blood on the Tracks, and you said, why don't we go backwards?
Yeah.
Ooh, I got a lot of work to do, and I'm up against a Dylanologist, so I better get this right. You know what I mean?
Right, right.
But yeah,
I have my own takes on Dylan songs. It just was, again, thanks to you and the show, I realized how much I love Dylan. Like I never, I always consider my expertise in musicology and man, I'm not a musicologist, but
you are.
Beatles, hands down. Tell me anything, I got you. Springsteen,
Yeah,
Genesis. Those three are my experts. And then with like a minor and like Rush. And I realized Dylan, which I didn't realize that. Like I was like, dude, I was like,
yeah,
I realized how much I love Dylan. Like
yeah.
the
It's
people
amazing.
of our podcast, and hopefully our fans out there, you realize our passion and you go out. That's our goal.
If anything, I learned so much thinking I know everything, right? About rock music, but doing Bob Dylan, like almost every album, I learned so much about the guy. Doing the band, I learned so much about them. Iron Maiden, Rush, Zeppelin, no brainers, no brainers. But I'm always up for the challenge of doing artists that I'm not that familiar with, and I become huge fans of the crazy obscure shit. You bring up you bring up Nashville Skyline to a Dylan fan, they might be like, I said, go back and listen to it. Listen to it. You know?
Yeah, no, and thanks to that episode, like when I one of our first conversations with my girlfriend, I was telling her about Bob Dylan. Now she's kind of low key a Bob Dylan fan, you know, thanks to me. And I was saying, like I was explaining to her, thanks to our show, but I realized that Nashville Skyline has a soul.
Oh yeah,
First time with Dylan's actually happy. Even
yes,
though the song, but he lets country influence him because country music is depressing.
yeah, yeah.
But it's great. And I realized I was like, man, I actually love every song on this album.
What I love is how we got into his personal life. We bring up his girlfriends, going back to his first love, to his second marriage. I can't think of their names right now, and that's what he was writing a lot about. You know,
And on our show, we discovered that he was talking, we were discovering a few things about, is he talking about Joan Baez? Who is his, is it Susie Rotolo?
yeah,
Like it's great. And we got into conversations and philosophy about true love, which,
yeah.
you know, hopefully in our future episodes, we can explore more philosophical topics like that because shout out to Joe Silverman once again, who's technically our third spiritual co-host.
Oh, yeah.
He says that he loves our takes on that, which I'm like, dude, that's
And you did a great job with Dylan on bringing up the religion. You broke down like you
oh
broke it down. I was like, oh my
yeah,
god.
for audience out there, like a minor thing. I obsessed with religion, and especially my expertise is like Catholic theology, if anything, but theology in general,
And
like
there were
especially
times
religion.
I couldn't figure out anything with Dylan. I'm like, this is too absurd. And then we were just kind of scratching our heads, going, okay, this doesn't make any sense with some of these songs.
Well, Highway 61 Revisited is a take. It's religious. Like you're visiting the highway that Johnson met the devil.
Yep, exactly.
John now is at that crossroads. He's revisiting that highway.
Yep,
And the song, God said to Abraham, kill me a son. And Dylan's kind of like being very absurd about it,
yeah,
right? Taking these, it's dark. Like
yeah,
everything about it, like Dylan is taking us into like the dark side of America. Like it's crazy for me. That's one of the ways you can unlock that album.
yeah. And I thank you for making me a Dylan fan and doing the research. So now I have conversations with people all the time at the temple. Mainly, that's another thing that pisses off people at the temple. I'll be talking to customers, and they're like, "What have you been up to?" I'm like, I'm playing a band, Potter's Field." Oh yeah, I did, great band. Well, I got a podcast. Really? What is it on? Rush, Bob Dylan. Well, I'm a Bob Dylan fan. You're a Bob Dylan fan. Well, you got to check out, Blonde on Blonde. You do Blonde on Blonde. Do you know about Nashville Skyline? I really don't. Check it out. So like that kind of stuff. So I feel like I'm an expert on those albums that we did. Not an expert, but I can hang with a Dylan person and talk about those albums now. So moving away from Dylan and introducing Mr. Joe Silkman.
Legendary, Mr. Joe. He's like the Led Zeppelin. And by the way, thanks for our podcast. And now I love Led Zeppelin. I didn't realize again like how much I needed to listen to Led Zeppelin and realize their influence. Like, don't get me wrong, I love Led Zeppelin. But thanks to you guys, I was like, wait, you guys made me listen to every album, and I realized, man, like Rush, they have no bad album.
But now, okay, just to bring up Mr. Silkman, he's a lot like you with me in my life and history. Me and Joe,
When I mentioned that, I know I went to school with his son.
yeah, so there's a connection. And
It's
you
a weird spiritual connect. You, like, you knew me since I was little, and you knew my mother too. My mom knows you, which is amazing. Through the temple, of course.
in
And it
Mississippi, Joe's wife wasn't she your teacher?
was my math teacher in sixth grade. And I went to school with her son, graduated in 2011, was not in the same friend circle, but I was familiar with him. And so having Joe Silkman on, it's like, man, it's like weird. It's like
Hey,
it's
you got the history. I know Joe since 2008 when he came, I believe, from White Plains to be an assistant team leader at the Temple. And Joe was very quiet at first, and I didn't know what to make of him because he's the new assistant team leader. You're just kind of like nervous, when you get a new team leader. So then after about a few months, he came up to me and he's like, "I heard you play in a band." I'm like, "Yeah." And he's like, "Well, what do you think of the Red Hot Chili Peppers?" He goes, "I heard you're a bass player." And forget about it. We hit it off. So since 2009, every day at the Temple, me and Joe would go in, punch in, and then me and Joe, he was the buyer, so we had a lot of communication to talk about with products. But it wasn't even about that. It was about music half the time. We're just talking about music and mainly Led Zeppelin. We were talking about Led Zeppelin all the time, constantly. And then he retired in October, and I was like so happy for him, but I was bummed. I'm like, oh my god, I'm not gonna have Joe to talk to about
no,
Led.
no, you can with this.
Zeppelin.
We have.
Well, that's the cool thing. After he retired, we didn't start the Zeppelin stuff. I think I said, "You want to be on our podcast?" He goes, "Yeah, once I'm retired." I said, "Okay." So then at the end of October, early November, we did, I think, we did just like Dylan and Rush, a prehistoric Led Zeppelin going from the Yardbirds to Billy to Jimmy Page and John Paul Jones' session work with Donovan and everything. Then we did Led Zeppelin 2, and Joe fulfilled every Led Zeppelin album with us with his genius, his expertise. He brought things to the table I didn't know, and I'm a Zeppelin freak.
I definitely didn't know. I'm not a Zeppelinologist, sadly, to our public out there, but just me listening to you guys and like learning and balancing out and be like, man, like I'm learning a lot.
And then Joe brought visuals. He had the background with the
I
shrine of,
love it. He's a fan. Like he's with us with Rush, he's Led Zeppelin.
and he has the albums. So he showed the album, like for instance, on Zeppelin 3, all those little things hanging off. He could show you that. Into the Outdoor, the 5 different covers. He would talk about the different angles. He had presence. So Joe brought everything to the Led Zeppelin table, and we're going to start doing other episodes with Joe, like Desire.
And we should do like the lead. Yeah, we're definitely he's gonna be joining us because I discovered how much he loves Desire, and at first I'm like, Desire. I'm like,
Another,
huh,
you know,
that's okay. Me and my ignorance, I was like, like I know Hurricane, but then I was like, man, I was wrong. Just listen to ISIS and
I mean, it's such a great album. It's amazing.
and Durango, that song. Oh, I realized Dylan is just a romantic poet that will not be seen again. And Joe was right.
Yeah, he kept saying
Joe was always on it.
He said, I'll do Dylan. It's got to be Desire. And I'm like, I don't know that album, but I'm gonna write an episode on it. And now I'm a fan, and we haven't done it yet. And that's gonna be like probably a 3-part. There's a lot to that album. It's
Oh,
friggin' deep, man.
that's not counting the Rolling Thunder review, which is
Oh God, yeah. That I do a whole episode just on the Rolling Thunder review before.
very knowledgeable about that.
Yeah. So, Mr. Silkman, thank you. And then Zeppelin's not over. It is not over. We got The Firm. We got Robert Plant's solo album. We even did our top 10 albums. That was one of my favorite episodes. Our top 10 Zeppelin with songs or album? Songs, I think.
I think it was songs.
Yeah,
Maybe we should do albums, and then maybe songs redux. Like if anything changed.
yeah. I didn't bring it up, but I got to bring it up because I was going to bring him up on guest, but also having my brother-in-law, Rob.
That was oh man, talk about like that was such a great experience too because your brother-in-law is insanely knowledgeable and he's a bass player too, right?
Bass player. He's a great bass player. He's a Rush fan. So he brought a lot to the table on that episode. But we'll save that for our guests, that we had in the past. But it was amazing. So that leads us up to um the end of Zeppelin because we just put out with Joe, but it's not over. We put out Into the Outdoor. He brought so many things to the table. Thank you, Mr. Joe Silkman, for being a part of you're the third member of the Cheech and you're the Neil Peart.
Honestly, yeah, that's a good way of putting it.
Neil and you're Neil. So you make the Holy Trinity.
All right, Chief. So I guess we'll come close to the conclusion of part one, but let me get your thoughts on our some of our guest stars. We've mentioned a lot of them, but Devontae and Mark, what'd you think?
Oh man, the first one I thought of because like what makes us so unique is we're doing Rush, Iron Maiden in the beginning, heavy bands. And then I said, do a rap episode. Us being fans of rap, we're metalheads and prog heads. I'm not ashamed to admit that. I was there when rap started in 1978 when the Sugar Hill Gang came out. I was there, and that's one reason why I played the bass because of that song. And I came up with rap in the 80s and Curtis Blow and Run DMC, BC's, all the great bands. So I said, let's do like a order of rap music. My era, the birth of rap, going back to Kool Herc, Grandmaster Flash, Sugar Hill, Curtis Blow, all the way up to NWA, Run DMC, Public Enemy, the great Dr. Dre, leading to Biggie and Tupac. And then, that's kind of where I stopped, in the 90s. Then that's where you come in. And you would bring your knowledge of that like late 90s, I guess Jay-Z, going up to 50 Cent, Eminem, and whoever else, we won't say the P word because it's a bad word these days. uh, and then all the bands, all the rap artists you liked, and then bring in the new school, which was Devontae, who's a DJ who knows his shit. He's a super talented DJ. He's kind of a music historian on rap, and he's a smart kid. He knows philosophy. He's always reading philosophy books. So he fits in with us, as a
Yeah.
younger guy, a lot younger than me. But he brought in the mumble, trap, all this shit that like I
Right.
I never heard of or like didn't even know about. And
Right.
and he kind of schooled me on it, and he was fun, and we had our, it was comedy. We were joking and cracking on each other. He was a great guest, I think. Um, and then after that, I was like, well, let's do one on Mark. I think Mark came up to me.
Mhm.
Mark was like, you guys did rap. It was really good, but why don't you do one on sampling? And I'm like, what do you mean? Like sampling and the rap, with the guy rap guys sample? He goes, yeah, but more like, Daft Punk and all that. And I'm like, dude, you want to be on the show? He said, yeah. So then I researched all the sampling and like found out I don't even know the names of these groups, but going back to like Prodigy and Dead Mouse, Marshmello, all the DJs that would sample, as well as like Run DMC and Vanilla Ice and what's the greatest sample.
Mhm.
So we had Mark on and did a great show with sampling, and then I think we brought Mark and Devontae together, right? We did.
We did. We had a couple of
I don't know what that was on. I don't know if that was on
uh
rap or
maybe it's samples, I think.
I don't know, but I know it was a fun show with sampling because Devontae brought in his samples, his Brazilian funk and ghetto tech and all that stuff, which is interesting. It's modern. So so we had some fun with Devontae.
It's always a good time.
And I thank those guys for being on the show and
Yeah.
educating on modern sampling because I'm 55 years old. I'm as far as sampling goes, house music. I'm old school, Prodigy and the bands I named, the Dead Mouse. I don't know much more than that on it. Um, and Devontae's like, nah, check this one out, check that one out. So that was a lot of fun. And then
So, Chija, I guess just a good time sake. We'll wrap it up here and then we'll continue part two.
yeah, we'll definitely do
Oh,
that. How long was this episode? I'm just
felt like hours.
it was a great episode on a retrospective.
Yeah, good retrospective episode.
Say one thing before we go. With a lot of great episodes. I'm gonna give it. I'm gonna say it in my list, but like the Christmas episode
Yeah.
was magic. It
Uh,
was,
I would add the Christmas one and the Jesus Christ Superstar episode.
and
The
the
first
Christmas
was really good.
was written literally right before lockdown, as they call it, lockdown in the temple. We just were, we had like, we were like, we did all the work. We just sitting in this episode. It was Christmas time, and you're like, Nat King Cole and Barry Como, and then we're going, oh, Johnny Mathis, and Andy Williams, and we're just going, and then we wrote the episode right there on the floor, right in front of the cheese, and that was it. And that was a great.
And I feel like it's gonna be like an annual thing, hopefully. Like,
Yeah. It's gonna be hard to top because it's like
I think we should do a Christmas special on something.
yeah, we really got deep on that one, like the origins of Christmas carols and going way, way back. So that was a great one. And, of course, unfortunately, Paul Diano died, and we did an episode on him, which was amazing, his life, which led to Maiden's first two albums. And Maiden's not done. We're going to continue Maiden.
That's a whole other journey.
So it's been a hell of a time, Manny. Thank you for being my podcast partner.
Thank you.
So much fun. And people love it. We get so many comments and likes and subscribers. And how could I forget? We did true crime, which we won't talk about that. We'll say crime
So
for
next time, like that'll be the first half of the second part, and then talk about top
that's
list.
such a highlight for me. Oh my
Starting
god.
with Warner Grossman, but we'll talk about next episode.
But yeah, enjoy the Styx concert, and till next time, we will hook up and do our thing. Yeah.
Cheech, man, Godspeed, and then hopefully I'll see you on part two of the 50th episode and anniversary.
Yep. Definitely. It'll be 51 unless you put these together as a 4-hour
We'll
episode.
do separate because maybe together. You know what? I'll just do it together.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're here about the long form podcast. Like if you cannot, we're podcasters. Like if you can't
That
watch,
was criticism I got from people. If there was going to be any criticism, oh, you podcasts are too long. And I'm like, I don't care. It's just too much knowledge. We got too much knowledge. Sometimes we make it shorter
but
because
you can like take it piece by piece. Like that's the beauty about video. I do that. I'm like I'll
like desire, it can't be one what you call it, the Bruce Springsteen one.
No, and I heard people leave our podcast in the background. I'm like, yeah, perfect. Like that's what we want to be, the radio, or like you're doing something and learn and
Yeah,
take something out of it.
like listen to a show like Coast to Coast or something. It's like 2 hours, 2.5 hours long.
Right.
You're, you're learning something from it, and hopefully people learn to get their attention span back from our show
100%.
because nobody has attention spans anymore, unfortunately.
No, don't get me started. But yeah, yeah.
So, but all right, man. You have a great night, and I will talk to you soon.
Huge brother, I'll catch you on the flip side, man, on the
All
second
right,
half of our 50th anniversary. So this was good.
all right, brother.
All right, brother. All right, till next one.
Take care.